We wanted to tell you a little bit just about how the day is going to go. Before we begin, we've called this event the best decision I've ever made, because we hear that over and over from our residents once they do make the decision and move in here to OceanView. We also hear, I shouldn't have waited so long. I wish I hadn't waited so long. And we do understand that this is a process, and it can be a very overwhelming and daunting process, which is human nature to put off something that is overwhelming and daunting. But there are real reasons, very good reasons, not to do that and not to put off a decision like this. And so we gathered some of our residents who very graciously agreed to join us on the panel and talk casually. We're going to have just a casual kind of conversation about their experiences, and then we will all take questions, they will take questions, and we'll help with your questions about your situation so that we can try to help you get over some of the barriers that may be stopping you from making this wonderful decision that could turn out to be the best decision you ever made. I will introduce the panel one at a time and just ask them a couple of brief questions, and then Dawn Wheeler will continue with a series of other questions, and I'll come around as you in the audience have questions so that you can speak into the mic. We will have door prize drawings at the end of the event. We have some lovely refreshments as well for after. And we will have tours also to our panelists' homes. They've graciously agreed to let us see their homes, so we will be offering tours at the end. And I'll start at the far end with Tricia Bullis. Tricia, if you could just talk for a couple of minutes about why you're here, where you live, maybe a little bit where you came from. Just keep it a little brief summary at the beginning, and we'll get into more details with your situation as we go along.
Hi, I'm Tricia. My husband and I moved here in July. We came from Massachusetts. We lived outside of Newburyport and Marblehead before that. The reason we came here was because we needed to. I didn't need to, but I felt like my husband did need to. And it's been a fabulous decision for us, and you will hear as we go on.
Joan Tilney is next. If you could share where you live on campus and what made you decide to move here, how long you've been here.
I'm Joan. I've been here almost 2 years in May. I made this decision overnight. Came to see Gloria, and I think I was signed up within 48 hours. She's amazing. I am so happy here. I have a lovely apartment just in this same building on the 3rd floor. You're certainly welcome to come in.
And Marcia Dvorak.
Hello. I came here from Central California. I was at the point where the drought was losing its appeal. The wildfires were definitely not fun to be with, and I wanted to be close to my children. And I had been here 15 years ago to visit OceanView to see a friend, and I was very impressed with it, and it's been in my mind all that time. And so it was very clear when I started thinking about coming back to Maine that this was going to be the first place that I was going to look at. And it turned out my daughter looked at it for me. She fell in love with it. She looked at another place, I won't say the name of it, but she said, you would not be happy there. And so here I am, and I live across the hall in a one-bedroom apartment with a little study, and I am very happy here.
Thank you, Marcia. Tom Simmons.
Ellen and I have lived here a little over 4 years. The reason that we came is a reason that probably will resonate with some of you who are couples. After cleaning out grandparents' homes and aunts' homes and going through downsizing with a lot of our friends and relatives, I thought about, and Ellen and I both thought about, you know, we need to get into a situation where if something happens to one of us, the other one is well taken care of. So that's one of the primary reasons that we made this change.
and Tom's better half, Ellen.
Thank you.
56 years of absolute bliss.
Sometimes. One of the other main reasons we came here is we had 2 children who lived here in Maine. And we had looked a little bit. We came from Rye, New Hampshire, and we're involved in the possible planning of another place like this. And we thought, that's dumb. We're going to go where our kids are for their convenience and for ours. And so we really didn't look seriously. And when we came here to some of the luncheons and that sort of thing, we found out that more and more this was a good place for us. And when they talked about the expansion and that we could pick what we wanted, then we signed up. And we live in the main lodge. We made a very conscious decision to be in the lodge, not to be in a cottage. I didn't want to garden anymore, and I didn't want to walk up the hill. And we have a 2-bedroom den, 2-bathroom, living room, dining room, kitchen, and we love it. We're outgoing people, and we're very, very busy. They have activities that are physical. They have learning kind of things. They have social activities, and you can be as busy or as private as you want to be. So it's a wonderful place to live, and the staff is great.
Thank you all for that introduction. Really appreciate that.
Can I finish my one thing? That
Oh, yes, go right ahead.
One of the things that we told our children when we decided to come, they were a little surprised, but happy. And we said this was our gift to them. They did not have to worry about us. We didn't have to worry about them. And consider that when you make a decision, because it's good for both groups of people.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. And I'm going to turn it over to Dawn, who's going to start the conversation with some additional questions. And please feel free to jump in as you all have questions about your own situation. I'll come around and bring the mic to you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dawn Wheeler. I'm the Activities and Events Director, so if you have questions about that, we can talk after as well. Now, you all looked at least one other place, except for maybe Joan, before you came to OceanView. Could you tell us approximately how many other places you looked at and about how long it took you to come to your decision?
I worked in the industry. I worked with senior housing for 30 years, so I've probably been to 25 or 30 communities. When we decided that we wanted to be in Maine, also because of family, it was an easy decision. I like OceanView for many reasons. It is a fee-for-service community, so you're not paying for what you don't use. It is a great value for the money. It really is, and they're hard to find. If you go looking, you are not going to find this model in many places. So that was another factor. I think those were the main ones. So, after we knew we were coming to Maine, it was, I came and gave Gloria a check.
Would anybody else like to talk about how your process, the time-wise, and the number of places you visited?
I think I said my daughter looked at another place, but I was part of building a retirement community, Birch Bay in Bar Harbor, Maine. And the thing, I know that community really, really well. I have lots of friends there. But the reason I decided not to go there, even though I knew everybody and I would have felt at home immediately, some very practical reasons. One, the access to health care. You would end up having to drive over an hour, if not 4, to get to the specialists that often older people need. And I thought that was really critical. There was, in the wintertime, very few activities, whereas And they did not make the provision for making so many interior spaces for exercising the way this place does. And that was really critically important to me to be able to stay active in the winter time. And then the other one that was, of course, compelling was being close to my children.
Thank you, Marcia. Do any of you feel there is a right time to start looking? Or in your case, what was the right time?
Make the move when you can, not when you have to. We see a lot of people, newcomers in here who, or people who are looking, who frankly waited too long. You know, it's difficult to get around sometimes and to meet new people and so forth if you're really incapacitated. So I think that the best time to make the move is before you have to make the move.
I was going to echo Tom's remarks. My decision to come here was such a quick one. I was still well enough to be on my own. I didn't have to ask my children for every little bit of help. I didn't want them to have to suddenly box me up and send me off. And I told them, I called them up after I'd seen Gloria. This is the second day. The first day I came here, and then I called them that evening, and I said, guess what? And they said, what, Mom? And I said, well, I've signed up for a retirement community, and I'm moving in about a year. And they said, wow. And they said, we're so proud of you. So again, I think you do this for your children too. It's very important. And I do have two of them living near Portland, and it's just wonderful. I would like to say one more thing. I think that the fear of moving for a lot of people, you just can't bear to give up what you've had for so long. And I would like to say, look upon a move as an adventure, and say, this is an adventure. I can't wait to get on another road to this adventure, and put this foremost in your mind. Yes, you may certainly look back all you want, say, isn't it wonderful that I've had this and this and this, but I'm going to do this now, and I'm going to go right ahead and make a great success of it. And I find that would really be helpful.
Thanks, John.
One of the things after we decided we were going to move, and we were younger than some people, and some of our friends thought we were absolutely crazy. We were fine, we were well, we were busy. What are you doing that for? Well, there were a lot of reasons. We had moved 12 or 13 times, so moving was not a frightening thing. And we had 3 piles: trash, giveaway.
That was yours, the trash.
No, that was yours. Trash, giveaway, or sale, or whatever, and take with you. And, you know, nobody needs 5 9x13 casseroles. I don't care where you live, and certainly not in OceanView. And I do all my own cooking. I have people for dinner. And sometimes I have to go to a neighbor and say, could I borrow one of your 8x8 pans, because I don't have one. But it's daunting. I think the hardest thing to get rid of is the memorabilia. And a lot of that doesn't take a lot of room, so bring it. You know, a box of pictures and that sort of thing. And we have the OceanView yard sale here, and in May. Last year we made $5,500 on what people brought that they didn't need. And that's a lot of money, and it was all for free. And then after we got done with our sale, the Lions Club came in and packed up everything and took it for their yard sale. So the things that you don't want, somebody else does. And so we also take clothing for the refugees and that sort of thing. So there's a good use for whatever you can't use.
Guess who has been in charge of the yard sale over the last couple of years? Each resident goes through a big move and a big lifestyle change coming to OceanView. We've seen it happen with every single one. Can you describe the most difficult aspect of your move and or offer some tips or tricks to make it easier as you're making a change?
The one thing that was holding us back for a long time was my husband had so much stuff. And he was attached to it. I mean, it's like he felt like it was part of him. So we paid a move manager to come in and work with him. But I will say he still has a storage unit in Massachusetts, and we do have a garage that's half full. But my house is not too bad on the inside. He can take it to the garage. That's as far as he can go. We both read the book, The Magical Art of Tidying. Was that the name of it? Marie Kondo. It's a bestseller. It's a little tiny book. It really is good. It'll tell you how to get rid of things and how to simplify your life. And it's a big burden lifted when you don't have a lot of extra stuff that you don't need. So that's been really great. It is a change of lifestyle. And I just came back from Hilton Head and I visited friends and they desperately need to be in a place. Only he says, like everyone says, well, we're not ready. Well, if you wait until you're ready, your kids are going to be making the decision and you might not like the decision they make. And also the change of lifestyle, as I said to him, it's a positive change of lifestyle. My husband no longer drives. I live in a cottage, the first cottage around the corner. He can walk over here. He plays bridge 3 times a week, and he goes to exercise class. So if we were sitting in our old condo, which was a very beautiful condo in Massachusetts, everybody went to Naples, there was nobody there. It was miserable. Here, we do have friends. I mean, some people probably do go to Florida, but most don't. And, you know, you go to the Symphony, hop the bus, go to the Symphony. My first trip out of Portland Airport, the drivers here took me to the airport. It was so simple. I wasn't going to Logan. And I just find everything here so easy, and Portland, Maine is it's a great place. I think it's because there's only 1.3 million people in Maine, and so they need your business, and they're all really nice. And I also think 800,000 of them are related.
I'd like to speak for the downsizing. It was such a daunting task, and then I decided to adopt a ruthless technique. And I had my children speak up to say what they would like to take. And then I identified 3 different sets of young people who were starting out on their own apartments. And I literally equipped 3 apartments so that they could actually move in with everything they needed. Because I realized I no longer needed to sleep 5 to 10 people. All those pillows, all those mattress covers, all of that bedding, all those towels. I no longer needed to feed 10 to 15 people. And so what happened is I started going through and I picked out the things that I really, really liked the most. So in my little apartment, every time I open a cupboard, I look at the fact that I'm actually using things like my crystal and my china and my silver that I love, and all the stuff that I had to gather up to feed people, to take care of them, to be a hostess. I didn't need it anymore. And so I love the simplicity of it. It's so easy to clean the apartment, and aesthetically, I'm very happy because it's wonderful to get rid of the burden of I think it was 3 large garbage bags of photographs that went to the landfill. I mean, do you realize that? I mean, I couldn't lift them. I could not lift them. And I kept all the ones that meant a great deal to me. So I would encourage you to think about how liberating that whole process can be.
Any other tips or tricks on moving?
I just want to add a little bit to my friend's remarks. I was very lucky and I checked in with this wonderful place there's a website called Simply Home, and they live in Yarmouth. So anybody who's living in Maine might like to just go on the line and read about Simply Home. It's run by 2 sisters and one of the husbands. He was called in because they had so much business, and he's done invaluable work for them. I have been, ever since I guess I was about 25 years old, I've been the repository of all things beautiful in the families, on all sides of the families. Oh, give it to Joan, she has space. So I had a huge cellar when I moved from Yarmouth, and that was one of my big worries, what I was going to do with all these things. Some of the things are very valuable, and it meant going to auctions, and then lesser auctions, thrift shops, of course. And so I'd have many, many piles of many, many thoughts. And these people in Simply Home were wonderful because they knew exactly what auctions I should go to and what thrift shops would take various things, what other organizations would be very open to donations. And it made my life so much easier. It was just wonderful because this was my big concern. My children, of course, didn't want all the things that I thought they might like to have. So that's one thing that I was very grateful for.
We gave to each of our children some of the things that we felt they should have, which they took fairly graciously. They finally got to the point where they said, Mom, we don't want any more gewgaws. The cut crystal and that sort of thing, they didn't want it. And if you have to iron it or polish it, forget it. So it's not so hard to really get rid of what you need. We had a yard sale, which is fun once. I think that's a frightening thing to a lot of people, but once you get into it and make up your mind, it really isn't so difficult.
That's super, thank you. Tom, did you have something to say?
Well, I'm waiting for the...
Oh, which one are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for this one is, what was your primary reason for choosing OceanView?
That's a good place to go next.
It's a marketing event.
It is. Go right ahead. Sure.
You know, as you look at OceanView and you walk around with the marketing staff, you're fairly focused on the physical aspects of OceanView. The size of the living room, how many drawers you have in the kitchen, you know, these kind of things. But there's a whole nother aspect to OceanView that you really don't see walking around. And that's the culture of the organization. I went into Rita's office one morning about 3 years ago, or maybe it was closer to 4 years ago, and there I saw on her filing cabinet some mouse ears with a gold tassel on it. And I said to Rita, why do you have mouse ears with a gold tassel? And then she explained to me about the Disney Institute. And come to find out that the senior staff at OceanView has been trained by Disney. They're in the hospitality business, not the old folks' home business. And that was quite a revelation to me, and it was one of the real triggering factors when before we made our decision, when I heard a talk by John Wasilewski, the owner. And the things that John talked about revealed the culture of the organization. And I was amazed by that, and then the crowning blow was when I found out why. How they had acquired the culture of hospitality. You know, if you have and I'm sure some of you have worked in organizations that had bad culture. It's tough to change bad culture. Equally so, when you have an organization with good culture, and the people are properly trained in the culture of the management, it doesn't change. And that is a real plus and was one of the real driving forces in our decision-making process.
Thank you. Would anybody like to tell us kind of what a typical day is like for you here at OceanView? Let's pick a weekday because weekends are more hard to pin down.
There are so many activities here, you can't possibly do them all, so you have to make choices. There's wonderful exercise programs. They have 3 people in here who are professionally trained for older people, and I go to exercise Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 8 to 9 or from 9 to 10. There's also exercise type classes at the pool. Not quite all year. If it's under 20 degrees, they say, don't come. But they're wonderful programs. Then there are cultural things that are here. Collective wisdom, book groups, that sort of thing. Then there are social things. Now, there's nothing more social than a sewing group with a group of women.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, some of them call it stitch and bitch. And it's an easy group. And if something isn't here that you want, you go to Dawn and you say, well, there isn't any daytime bridge group organized. Well, she said, do it. There wasn't any canasta group, so we started a canasta group. They're not large groups, they're 8 or 10 people, but they're people, and you've gotten to know 8 or 10 more people that you might not have gotten to know. And that's the point in doing the things that are available to you. Some people say, oh, and they're good lectures. I used to laugh when I'd go to the theater and see these people getting out of the senior citizen buses and think, huh, well, now I'm one of them. And it's wonderful, especially at night, and getting to Portland takes you 10 minutes. It's the most convenient place we've ever lived, because we can get to the theater and wonderful restaurants and the symphony and all of those things. And we were always gonna, but lots of times we didn't do it because it was too much trouble.
I know there are a couple of you that brought your very busy personal lives with you and don't take advantage of all of the activities just yet. Would you like to comment on possible future opportunities? No? They're all looking around.
I think for me, I did work out back when I lived in Newbury, Mass, and I continue to work out here. That's why I know Joan. She's in my class, and I want to look like her. So I go to exercise classes, but I'm also involved with my kids. I have a brand new grandson that was born last summer to a 45-year-old son that I thought would never get married. So that's been a real gift. And my daughter's moving here. So I also like to go to restaurants. I take my husband to doctor's appointments. We're busy. I've made some friends. We go to the movies. Here we could go to the movies, or we could go in town to the movies. We just, we live like a normal life like you would, only it's a lot easier.
I have an enormous family. I've been very happily married 3 times, and I seem to be fairly liked by everybody. So I've got a lot of grandchildren and great-grandchildren and children, 9 children. 4 of them are stepchildren. And I feel very lucky. I keep up with every single one of them, even the great-grandchildren. And that takes quite a while, but I also dovetail with my activities here. So I've got really, of the 24 hours, I think I'm going 18 hours a day. And I love it. I'm still young enough to be able to do it. And it's a great opportunity to be able to have other things besides family that you can go to make yourself more interesting to them.
Great. Thank you very much. I guess we're down to the one question, which is kind of the title of our lecture. What are some of the main benefits of being at OceanView compared to living in your previous home? Or why is this the best decision you ever made? I was going to say, we might have covered that, but...
I didn't shovel snow this morning. I didn't brush off a car. Your range breaks, they fix it. Your microwave doesn't work, it's fixed. You got a little problem with something, and everybody's right on it right away and gets it taken care of. When I was living at home, Ellen had a big garden, and she would weed and leave the big piles, and I had to pick them up, and I got sick of picking up those piles. Don't have to weed anymore. That's kind of a good thing.
Unless you want to.
Unless I want to.
Unless they want to.
Oh, yeah, if you want to weed, go right ahead.
And that is some reason. There are some people who feel very strongly about going into their cottage because they want to put their feet on the ground and they still love gardening and they have an animal, a dog or something to get in and out, and that's a very compelling reason. I didn't want to garden anymore because I didn't want to pick it up and so forth. I came one time in the summer and there's some beautiful gardens here. We have a garden walk. And I was so glad I didn't have to compete with all those people with their gorgeous gardens, and now I can just go look at them.
I think for me, Maureen is one of the best reasons for coming here, because Maureen does the job I used to do. I used to deal with the handyman, the water treatment firm that took care of my water system. This is California, remember, and things aren't very easy. I had to deal with the chimney cleaner, the pool man, the gardener, a gardener, someone to help me do the heavy cleaning. It just went on and on and on. And I think, like Tricia and Tom said, it is so nice not to be the person worrying about whether or not you need a new roof, or whether or not your water heater is going to have to be fixed, or and I forgot the people who took care of my air conditioning and heating system. I mean, there were more people doing things to help me, because once my husband died, things that he did, I then had to do, and some of them, frankly, I wasn't equipped to do. But I think when I see the staff they've assembled here and how much each one of them has helped me, and I'm only one person out of a couple of hundred, I realize that this is another good economic reason to live here, because you don't have to pay individually for all of those services. The cost is shared among many of us.
Maureen Connolly is our Director of Operations, and she's in the back in the black and white coat if you'd like to speak to her later on.
I just have a remark to make about the staff. I think if you came here, you would see the same thing that all of us here realize. Every single person here has a smile on their face. Every single person, no matter where they are in the echelon of OceanView, is here to help us. And they are so incredibly wonderful, so intuitive, so welcoming. And every single day, I am so blessed. I feel I'm so blessed to be in such a lovely community.
Instead of having a list on your wall of all the vendors that you use to take care of different things, at OceanView, you need but one number, the front desk. They take care of it, whatever it is you need. Like, even things like catering a party. You just call the front desk, they get you to who you need, and you're all set. It's great.
Well, thank you very much. Let's turn it over to questions from the audience. Does anybody have anything specific they'd like to ask? Oh, come on, I know you have a question. Yes, ma'am.
How does transportation work within the community? If you're living in cottages or away from the main building, can you explain how often that is or what is offered?
Can't hear him.
The question was about transportation and how that works if you're in a cottage and want to get to the main buildings. Would you guys like me to handle that, or?
Because it just changed January 1, right? That we're going to change it.
Right,
So.
right. We keep adding to that, actually. Part of my job is I supervise the transportation department as well. We do have concierge on campus. We have a loop that runs in the mornings, it's difficult to explain because it stops at every cluster, so it's not like on the hour, but we do have a schedule. And you can just hop on the van and hop off wherever you want to go. If you want to come to the main lodge, if you want to go to the pool, that type of thing. In the afternoons, for most of the larger programs that don't happen regularly, we always run a concierge van. If there's a program you want to go to and we don't have to have one scheduled, you can call up to the front desk and somebody will come pick you up and bring you to your program.
It's part of the sign-up
Right,
process.
right. But if, again, all you have to do is call the transportation coordinator and she will make sure that you get where you need to go.
I had a gentleman in the back. And
Yeah.
had his hand up.
Who had their hand raised?
One of you mentioned a book about moving, and I didn't understand the title, but can you?
It's like The Art of Tidying, and the lady's name is like, it's Japanese Art of Tidying, but if you put tidying in, even if you go on Amazon, it'll come right up because it's a bestseller. And if you come to my house, oh, her name is Kondo, Marie Kondo, and if you come to my house, I'll show it to you.
I didn't understand the T word you're saying.
Tidying.
Tidying. T-I-D-Y.
Not tidy.
It's a current bestseller.
Tidying.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question about visitors, young visitors.
Oh.
And what goes on here.
Last night, yesterday afternoon, our granddaughter, we picked her up from school, and she came here, and she went into the library, and she helped two ladies in there that are doing a very complex puzzle, and they said, this is the last time we're going to do this puzzle because it was so difficult. And Adeline came in and put a few pieces in for him. She was a visitor.
Well, when she was 4 or 5 years old,
Sorry.
When she was 4 or 5 years old, she came quite often. She's now in middle school, and so she's too busy. But she came to the pool in the afternoon. She came and stayed overnight several times. She went to exercise class. They're very welcome, and people love to have the young children come. We had our son came up every Thursday, and he and his wife, we had breakfast together on Thursdays. We have our daughter and granddaughter for supper quite often. But I think that the children are not allowed at the pool without somebody. They're not allowed in the exercise rooms. I mean, there are some safety precautions. But as long as you're with them, people are happy to see them.
I have grandchildren that live in Burlington, Vermont, so when they come, they stay overnight. And now that they've seen that pool, we have a huge pool. It's gorgeous. And so now the kids all want to come because they want to go to the pool.
We also occasionally have very well-behaved grand dogs come to visit. Yep. And if they're well-behaved, they can stay overnight.
What are the services that are offered or available to residents?
Can you be more specific?
Housekeeping, healthcare, things like that.
Gloria will fill you right in on that.
There are so many. It would take a long time to go through them all, and we do have brochures if anyone would like to pick one up that has a really comprehensive list of our services. But just a quick rundown of what's included in our monthly fees, our property taxes and insurance on the homes, and maintenance, as the panelists have described, inside the home and out. We take care of fixing everything inside and out. There's monthly housekeeping service that's included. You can have it more frequently if you'd like, but monthly housekeeping's included. All of the amenities that we've been talking about, the pool and the fitness classes and water aerobics and the book clubs and lectures and roundtable discussions and on-site entertainment and social parties, and I mean all of the Enrichment Academy schedule. If there's a trip into Portland, there's a small charge for the van for ticketed events, because it's a select group that can go. It's not open to the entire campus, but trips to Trader Joe's and the grocery stores and things, you just sign up and those are open to anyone. There's an emergency call system in every home. If there were an emergency, that brings Falmouth Rescue. And there's a healthcare management component of our monthly fee, which is provided by an RN. It's kind of oversight of your personal health care, so that if you're well, you just visit with her once a year and, you know, a meet and greet kind of, hi, how you doing? But if you're not well in between those annual visits, or you have a scheduled knee surgery, or you have a true emergency, we have 2 nurses who are wellness coordinators, and they act as case managers for your personal healthcare situation and advise you and help you figure out the right course of action. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything.
The bank is here on Thursday morning, Bath Savings Bank. You get a podiatrist, an audiologist.
I'm going to let you guys add whatever you'd like.
Yeah, you can get your hair cut. You can get your fluff and buff on the hair. You really don't have to leave the campus. You can get the van will take you down to the supermarket. Take you to Walmart.
I think one thing that's incredibly helpful is that if you don't feel like you can drive to a dentist or a doctor or your lawyer or whatever, they're very accommodating about arranging transportation, dropping you off, then come, because it's so close. You know, in Portland, they come back and pick you up, and that has been incredibly helpful to me. There is a lab technician that comes every Wednesday morning up in the Wellness Center, and you can have your doctor write your lab order so that, for example, if they're monitoring you because you're on a particular medication or you're a diabetic or whatever, you don't have to do the fasting thing and go off all the way to Portland and wait to get your blood drawn. You go and you wait in this little hallway, and this very nice lady from an approved lab will come. She'll come out and get you and take your blood, and then it'll be sent off to your doctor. And that's been incredibly helpful to me. And about a month ago, I hurt my leg, and it was horrific. Because I thought, oh my goodness, I won't be able to do what I usually do. Well, I called the nurse, talked with her. She was very helpful. We decided that I probably didn't need to go to the doctor, but I contacted my doctor. My doctor wrote an order for physical therapy. The physical therapy company that is housed here on campus then providing me with my physical therapy, and my therapist comes 2 times a week to my apartment to give me the ultrasound treatment and to monitor my progress and give me new exercises. And she is coordinating with the personal trainers down in the gym, who will then pick up after that to make sure that I totally get strong again and get back to all my previous activities. So it really is an incredible coordinated program to help keep you well and healthy.
We've been here for 30 years. Hard to believe sometimes that OceanView was founded in 1986. So we've grown slowly over time, and I think over that period of time, many of us, Dawn is here for 20 years, Maureen, what are you, 18 years? A lot of long-term staff, and so we've kind of learned what people want and need and have asked for, and so we've put a lot of those programs and services in place and continue to evolve as people ask for different things or have new ideas of services they'd like. But what I listed was just the inclusions in the monthly fee. Almost anything you want or need here we can get for you.
About the food service. One of the things they have from 7:30 to 10 o'clock is coffee and muffins for free in the gazebo when it is open. The dining room serves 1 meal a day. You can be on a meal plan to go every day. You can call up on Tuesday and say, I'd like to have dinner on Wednesday, I'm not on the food plan, and you can go. Then there are a lot of events that are a dinner, that are social events that you have to sign up for and pay for, but they're part of the dining service. And we don't eat in the dining room very often, but I really have never heard bad criticism about the food. And you know, that's what people love to complain about. There are usually three main dishes on the menu, and you get to pick one of those. There's also a wonderful, they call it the bistro, Whipple Farm.
Oh, Whipple Farm Distinctive Dining.
Distinctive Dining, and that's Friday and Saturday, and it is a gourmet meal. Tom says they draw on the plates.
They drizzle.
They drizzle.
Drizzling on the plate.
And it's a 6-course meal, and you can bring your own wine, and get a group of 6 or 8 to go, and you can invite people to go, and you don't have to pay for it because they just put it on their bill. So it's easy to make a group to go to dinner with, and special things on holidays and so forth. So that's a fun kind of thing to do.
What are there rating agencies out there that are on the web or something that any one of us could go on the web and
My
check out?
daughter checked with the Better Business, looked at Chamber of Commerce, some of those things. I don't know who my TA prep people looked at, but I suspect that I don't know what they had, but I think perhaps Maureen could give you some idea. The thing is that John is a very respected businessman in this area, and he's very well known for his sound business practices. So a lot of what I found out came from word of mouth from people who had actually done business with him and had known of his reputation.
Yeah, I have heard of that reputation. I went on the web to the Attorney General, and they came back crystal clean. Nothing. They have nothing derogatory on OceanView. But I couldn't find any rating agency or anything that would comment.
There is a state agency for assisted living that surveys and monitors, like with nursing homes, there's an agency, and with assisted living, there's an agency. But with independent living, there is no oversight by a state agency. It's all really self-monitored. We take great pride in our communities, so, we're probably our harshest critics, but there isn't, that I'm aware of, any agency for independent living.
John is the owner of OceanView, is a very philanthropic person. He matches what we make on the yard sale, and that goes to the RAF fund, which is Residents Assistance Fund. He donated, I can't remember how much money, to the library in Falmouth. He sponsors theater and all that kind of thing. And he is a very generous person. But very business sense.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here I come.
Thank you. I've got several questions. A couple of them are easy ones. If you have an apartment, are you allowed a pet? Yes or no? You are. Okay then. If you have an apartment, are there any places where if anybody wants a small vegetable garden? Yes. Okay. Good. Yes. Raised beds. Fantastic. 2 other questions. When John retires, I know John's got a very good reputation. We looked at the Highlands as well at one point. We know he's got an excellent reputation. What happens when he retires? We're familiar with Dirigo Pines, which is just in the process of being sold. I'm thinking of the future down the road. I'm sure he's made plans, but it'd be interesting to know. That's the big one. The other big one is the elephant in the room, which no one has mentioned, and that's finances and the costs. So they're my 2 big ones.
two very good questions, which everyone answers pretty much that come in. Tricia, would you like to say something?
Because I worked in the industry for a very long time, I know that this is a great value. If you figure out what you spend in your home every month, you'll find out this is a wash. It's about the same, and maybe a little less. It's not. There are other communities that you probably already know, that if you go to a community that has the nursing home there, you're going to pay probably double or more to what you would pay here, whether you use it or not. And my particular view is that people do go to nursing homes, but they go there for rehab, and then usually they go home. We have a memory care unit if people have Alzheimer's disease, and we also have the Falmouth House Assisted Living. Hopefully, we're going to be covered. We're going to pay for that when we need it. I just think financially, it's a very good value for the money. In my case, it is anyway. I'm not paying any more to live here than I was in my condo in Massachusetts.
Thank you, Tricia. Did anybody else want to add to that? Just to add to what Tricia said, it's also a very predictable monthly fee. So as opposed to being in a home where, there are always surprises, something goes that you weren't expecting, you have to replace some big ticket item that isn't in your budget. That happens every year, pretty much, with a house, maintaining a house. Here, your monthly fees include all of that, and they're very predictable, so you know what your monthly fees are going to be month after month after month. So that's a very positive aspect. In addition, the financial part of your question, we have a wide range of sizes and prices of homes, from smaller cottages and apartments that are very affordable in the low 200,000s for the entrance fee. And I'll explain that a little bit more in a second. And then they go up to very large homes, both apartments and cottages, that get up, in the 600,000, 7, 8. So very large homes too, and everything in between. So whatever suits your situation, your budget. The monthly fees don't vary that much here, really, between cottages and apartments. They include a little bit different things in each category, but they don't vary that widely. The other piece of the 100% refundable entrance fee, I could go on and on, but you don't own the home. We own the home. You're paying an entrance fee, strictly. There's no deed. So you know that money is going to come back to you when you leave. It's a 100% refundable entrance fee. So when you leave the home for any reason, you or your estate will get that entrance fee back in full upon resale. We do have to resell the property. But you or your estate will get that money back. And then if you have left to go to assisted living, as Tricia mentioned, we do have legacy memory care and traditional assisted living called Falmouth House. Those settings here at OceanView are straight monthly rental arrangements. So the whole idea here is that those entrance fees are like nest eggs. You know, if you paid $300,000, you will get $300,000 back, and then you can use that money, your own asset, to pay toward the monthly rental fees in assisted living, which cover your meals and care and are priced according to the amount of assistance you need. So it's a very, very good, practical, and straightforward arrangement. It's a very fair, fair arrangement. May I just answer the other part of your question about John and if he retires? He's 62. Yeah, 62. So he's still a very young man for what he's accomplished to be in this community for this many years. And he has been here since the beginning. He had partners that he bought out. But his adult son is now part of OceanView and is the project manager for the schoolhouse cottage development. He's 32, and he just got married and lives in Falmouth. So, it's a family business. It's not a big corporation out of Texas or New Mexico or Florida. It's a Maine family business, and, father and son are working together and operate that business. So, nothing is cast in stone forever, I guess, but that seems to be the plan, is to have his son take over eventually. Yes?
You mentioned that we would get our money back what we put into it. But if we came in and moved in, and after 2 or 3 years decided we wanted to move to California or someplace, we could do it. No question about it.
The question was if you just want to move somewhere else, near a child or elsewhere other than OceanView. If you leave OceanView for any reason, it doesn't matter why, we just go down our waiting list, which we do have a waiting list, and call the next person who's interested in your type of home, recommit to them, and in collecting their entrance fee at that time, we refund the full amount that you had paid in. A lot of people say, what are you doing sitting on all of that money? All of those entrance fees sitting in the bank, hundreds and hundreds. And my husband just said it to me the other night. That's why it came to my mind. He's like, that's, so much money in the bank. Well, no, the initial deposit with new construction in a new setting, and we've had different phases over the many years. So with new construction, your entrance fee deposit goes toward building your home. When you leave that home, and we have what we call a resale, and we're not selling real estate, but we just call it a resale. The person buying that cottage pays their entrance fee at that time, and that's how we refund your entrance fee. So the difference, the either appreciated value of that property or the depreciated, doesn't often happen, really rarely ever, but it's our risk if it did. The appreciation or depreciation is to OceanView's benefit or not benefit, whatever the word is. Okay, yes, sir.
If you end up having to be in the assisted living or memory care, do those things qualify for people who have extended care insurance?
Long-term care?
Yes.
Yes, long-term care insurance. Depends
So
on
it's the same as a nursing home, as far as...
It's not a skilled nursing facility. It would be categorized differently. It would be categorized as assisted living.
Right.
But if policies speak to, many people may have long-term care insurance, they typically speak to a certain number of activities of daily living that qualify for your insurance to kick in. And so we're providing assistance with activities of daily living in Falmouth House and Legacy Memory Care. So it depends on your policy, but yes. And we'll help you apply for those benefits. Those nurses will help with that.
You can also have help in your own home.
Good point, Tricia. Those healthcare managers, the nurses that will meet with you once a year and in between if you're not feeling well, can arrange for home care. We have our own agency, personal care agency. They can arrange for care to come right into your independent home, and it allows you to stay independent for longer. Often you just need a little help here or there and you're fine. So with that little bit of oversight and assistance right in your independent home that we will coordinate for you, you can stay independent longer.
I have 2 questions over here.
Oh,
one is a follow-up on the resale. Can you tell me what the maximum amount of time it's taking you to resell a unit and what the average times are?
In about late 2008 or 9, it was up to about a year when people were really frozen in place and so petrified to do anything because of the Great Recession. Other than that, it usually takes 2 to 4 months. And the reason for that is that going down the waiting list, people do not have to act. There's no penalty for saying no thank you on the waiting list. So sometimes, it takes a little time to go down to find the person that wants to take the available opening. And then we do allow, about a month and a half, to allow people to get their life together a little bit. So 2 to 4 or 5 months is typical.
Okay. My second question is unrelated. If you have somebody coming to visit you who's staying overnight and you're in a small unit or a unit that isn't big enough to accommodate them, what kind of facilities do you have to accommodate and how many?
Okay. We do have a guest suite. We used to move it around, which was, I can't even believe we ever did that. when things opened up, different homes opened up because of natural health reasons or whatever, we would move our guest suite from cottage to apartment to a different cottage to a different apartment over and over and over. And now we have a dedicated apartment in the main lodge. It's a small main lodge, one-bedroom apartment. It has a double bed and a living room set up and a kitchen and a Keurig machine. And, you know, it's set up as a guest suite. So that is available to residents and their families.
How far ahead do you have to book it?
It's $120 a night. It includes the cafe breakfast and one meal in the dining room, the main dining room. And it depends on the time of year. You know, this time of year it's quiet. Summertime it gets a little busier. Accommodations in Maine in the summer are kind of hot commodities, so it's a little busier in the summertime. Yeah.
What would you say is the average income level of people who can afford to move here?
We don't get into that.
You don't get into that.
No. We freely provide our, I mean, I'll talk with you personally, individually about that, but we don't have any benchmarks. Some places say, oh, you need to make $50,000 or $70,000 or whatever a year. We freely provide our information. The entrance fee is one thing, and people look at that based on the equity in their home, whatever asset they feel is comfortable for them to put into an investment type of situation, knowing they're going to get it all back. That's one thing. The other thing is the monthly fee, and if your monthly income comfortably covers the monthly fees, and we do have brochures if anyone would like one, they're in the back, with the pricing in there. If your monthly income comfortably covers the monthly fees, you know, to cover the expenses beyond that, your medical stuff and whatever is not included in the particular category you choose, phone and cable, and any meals that you might want. That's really all it is. It's quite straightforward and simple. There's no real, you know, you got to make this or you don't work here.
If you're wealthy, you don't have to worry about it.
No, you know, it's probably for two people, $2,500 a month max to include extra meals and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So multiply that by 12, whatever that is, and add a little bit just for a cushion, and that would be sufficient.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's very individual, though, and because we have a lot of variety.
If I'm not mistaken, you have a series of payments. You have a deposit to put down and a series of other payments you pay until you move in. If most of your finances are tied up in your home or your investments, is there some way of getting a bridge loan to make those payments?
A bridge loan can certainly be arranged through, against any asset that you own. Typically, people who want to move here will put down a small deposit and then arrange either an equity line on their existing home or borrow against investments or other assets that they may own and use that as a bridge to finance the rest of this prior to selling their real estate. That's very common.
That's done individually, not through...
Right. Our bank of choice is Bath Savings, just because John has worked with them for 30 years, but you can go to your own bank and then maybe compare to what Bath would offer if you'd like to do a little shopping. But yes, you do that on your own. Very good questions. Anyone else?
One quick one.
What is the average age of someone coming into OceanView? Just the average.
It's low to mid 70s. 70 to 74 is about when most people move here. We have younger and younger people moving here with our new cottage neighborhood in the 60s, low 60s. But then we've been here for many years too, so our average age, because we're 30 years and some people for 30 years. The whole time, it kind of skews up. So a lot of people make this decision and move here between 70 and 74.
One of the things is, if you think you can guess the age of residents here, I bet you won't do very well. Because people who you think are 90 are 75, and people you think are 75 are 95. The energy and so forth of the people here is unbelievable. And I get fooled all the time and people are quite free to tell you their age. You get above 70 and what do you care? It really is amazing. We had 2 women who lived here who were both over 100. And they played bridge and they did everything that everybody else did. And there are other people who physically can't do very much. But it's really surprising.
Well, some of the people here that are in my exercise class, they're in great shape. I mean, they can really move. And what they say is, well, I've been here and I've been doing this for 12 years. And I was just blown away by the activity level of the people here. And if you come some morning, go down to the exercise room and you will see them.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank again our wonderful residents who agreed to do this. And in the interest of full disclosure, I should tell you, we gave them a list of questions we would likely ask. We had no idea what they were going to say. So all of this is straight truth that you got today. Thank you again so much for coming, and thank you as well.